Koolin beef started, you know what I'm saying? So, far as Mink, you know what I mean? I knew Mink since she was living in Baltimore, you know what I mean? I used to travel from New York to Baltimore, get my hustle on out there. And that's where I met Mink, you know what I mean? I know her baby father, you know what I mean? Me and her baby father go back, in the streets. And I knew Mink, back when she was like, busting checks, doing the credit card scams, you know what I mean? She was getting money, caught a few cases, you know what I mean? And then, she changed her life around. She moved out to Atlanta, started, doing party promotions and party plannings and, throwing parties for celebrities. Started, really doing her thing in Atlanta, even started a trucking business, and nah, man. Far as Koolin, like I said prior, I met Koolin online, you know what I mean, sending the DMs. Me and her started messing around, you know what I mean, so, me and Koolin, we was dating, for a little minute. Even got Koolin pregnant at one point, but, Koolin ain't wanting no more kids, so, she went and had an abortion. So I fucked with Koolin real heavy, like I was cool with me. That was my homegirl. And Koolin, was somebody I was dealing with sexually and shit. It's now, far as like Koolin, she was like a down chick. Like I remember when that time when Koolin got locked up. And remember when she got locked up and all that shit, and it got it back online. That was because of me, because remember I caught that case out in Dallas where I sold some work, and I was like on the run and shit, living in Atlanta, dealing with Koolin. And it just so happened on that particular day when Koolin got locked up, right? I went to the crib, I cleaned out the safe, and got all the work out the house because I had a big, major play that day, so, you know what I mean? I cleared out the safe, got all the work out the house, and I went and made a play. No lie, no later than like probably 30 minutes or a half hour after I left. That's when they raided Koolin house and shit, you know what I mean, and locked her up. Cause they was really looking for me and shit, you know what I mean? But when they raided her house, wasn't nothing there, wasn't nothing in the safe, wasn't no drugs in the house, you know what I mean? Cause I just got rid of everything, you know what I mean? And then, I found out later on she was locked up. And, she kept her mouth shut, man. That's why I really fucked with her, she kept her mouth shut that whole time they had her locked down. I made sure, I left money for the kids and, held the family down till she got out, you know what I mean? But I would have her call VS, and then VS would call me, because I didn't want them to trace my phone and shit, you know what I mean? So I couldn't have them call me directly, you know what I mean? Had to, you know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say, so I had a party, right? I had a party in Atlanta and shit. And Meek Mob was the, party promoter. She planned the party and all that shit. And, cause if you go to like Koolin's like Instagram or her community wall on YouTube, you see her at some of the parties with like Cameron and, Rich Homie Quan, R.I.P. Those were at my party, you know what I mean? So with this particular party, I was running out of space on the guest list, and I kept meaning to put Koolin on the guest list, but shit kept popping up. I was busy, you know what I mean? I'm running around. Plus, like I said, I was running from a case out in Dallas and Atlanta, so I'm ripping and running and shit. And I remember Koolin was like, yo, make sure you put me on the guest list so I can come to the party. So I'm like, no doubt, but it must have slipped my mind, so I'm at my party and shit. This is my birthday party. My birthday's in April and shit, so I'm a tourist, so I'm at my party and shit. Mink Mob is she's at the door. She's, she's checking the guest list and shit, with security. I'm inside partying. Now, I forgot to put Koolin on the motherfucking, the guest list and shit. So I'm partying, I'm on the inside. Word that I got from people who was out there, watching or trying to get in. Cause I didn't find out after Koolin tries to come into the party, and Mink Mob checks the guest list. She's not on there, cause I forgot to put her on there, you know what I mean, which was my fault, you know what I'm saying? So Koolin, and Mink started arguing because Koolin was mad that she wasn't on the guest list, which I forgot to put on the guest list. And Mink Ma was like, look, you're not on the guest, and they started bickering, arguing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So, when the party's over, and Mink told me about a girl named Koolin trying to get at the party, I'm like, oh shit, that was my shorty, man. I forgot to put on a list, and that she was like, yeah, she was like, yeah, she wasn't on the guest list. She was rude, cursing me out, real disrespectful. We had words, but, you know what I'm saying? So I thought it was over. So one day I'm chilling, like, cause, after, being laid up with Koolin for like a month or two, I went back to Dallas. I get a phone call, you know what I mean, from one of my peoples. They're like, you seen this shit online? I'm like, what's up? They're like, motherfucking Koolin and the Mink about to fight. Koolin's on her way to Mink house. I'm like, what? So I go to this shit. I look online. I see Mink is standing in front of her house. You know what I mean? Posted up like, yeah, I'm waiting to see if this bitch show up. And then Koolin is driving, talking about she's on her way. I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I guess they were still mad about that incident. Like, you know what I mean? I guess, they were still beefing about the part. So I'm ringing Koolin's phone. She's not answering. I'm ringing her phone. She's not answering. I'm like, fuck. I'm calling Mink. She's not answering. Lo and behold, man, Koolin get there. They get to fighting and tussling. I'm like, what the fuck? Then I'm hearing, cause all this shit is on live. Y'all can go look this up. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the fight broke out because Koolin couldn't get into my party, but it was my bad. I forgot to put on the fucking guest list. So they get to tussling and fighting. Neighbors break it up. Fucking Mink steals her phone. Is right there. Like I said, y'all can look this up online. Man. She steals her phone. I'm calling Koolin's phone, but no one's answering. She's going straight to voicemail. Then later on, Koolin called me, was like, yeah, that bitch, she took my phone, da-da-la-da-la. And she said I had to buy a new phone, so I felt bad, so, I cashed after some money for the new phone and shit. But that shit was crazy, man, like, you know what I'm saying? So that's the rundown on Koolin and Mink, and they court cases, behind that shit, man. They were going back and forth to court for like a month or two behind that shit, man, and that shit is wild, you know what I'm saying? But that beef ran deep, but it all started because at my party, and it was my bad because I forgot to put Koolin on the guest list, so I'm gonna take my time to apologize to Koolin, and my bad, you know what I'm saying?